Swakopmund Museum. This is in Swakopmund on the west coast of Namibia. I actually didn't even plan to visit. I didn't even know much about it. It didn't even look that interesting from the outside. I was just taking a walk nearby and I saw it. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to visit, but I didn't want to regret not visiting either, if you get what I mean. Then I was like, okay, let me just check it out for 20 minutes. Then I ended up spending more than an hour and a half in it. And here's why. The tickets are less than £2, but I think it's worth more because the museum has a lot to say. For those of you who are new to the channel and haven't watched my other Namibia videos, Namibia used to be a German colony. So the Swakopmund Museum also gives an insight of what life was like in those days. Some could be from the time when South Africa took over and colonized Namibia. I didn't have enough time to fully explore this, but it also has exhibitions of Namibian culture, its people, geology, its transportation history, its animals, plants, and more. As I said, I only stayed for an hour and a half, but if you would love to truly take in what it has to offer, then I would give it more time than this. Swakopmund was founded in 1892. Of course, the Namibian natives already had a name for it. The Herero people called it Otjozondjii, but you know how things went with colonialism, so Swakopmund was founded in 1892 as the main harbour for German Southwest Africa. German Southwest Africa, this is what Namibia used to be called. They have this historical money, some banknotes and some coins. They also have these historical stamps that would probably be worth a lot of money these days. As someone who is fascinated with maps, the map section was interesting to me. They are colonial, but it's interesting how the same land can be projected in so many ways depending on who the map maker is. It has a lot of old machines as well. The world really has come a long way, and the old machines, I think, make me appreciate how much work goes into inventing some of these things. Machines or technology these days always comes in sealed, like our phones, our TVs. We don't really get to see the machinery behind it. So it's easy to forget that somebody had to start somewhere. They had to brainstorm, and back then everything was grand. So you could really see how parts were working together, but now it's just kind of there and you just use it. You don't think, how is this machine working? I mean, look at these presses or printing machines. How do you even start planning on how you'd make this work? Then to actually make it work and inspire people to develop it, to make it more effective. The human mind is so amazing. Some of the pieces were in such good condition. I wonder if they were replicas. If there's anybody watching who knows, please let me know in the comments down below. The descriptions of the items were in German and English. I think actually it could be Afrikaans and English as well. I don't know, but I can't tell the difference between Afrikaans and German. So most likely it was German and English. But anyway, you can book a tour guide with the museum too. But it has to be a day in advance. This way you get to really understand everything in the museum. Most likely the tour guides will be able to speak English, German and Afrikaans. I think they'll be able to speak all three because most people in Swakopmund could speak all of the three languages. Additional languages, I think you would have to double check with the museum on this. This is a film projector made in Berlin. I guess they would use this to project films or movies on walls and then watch them. For the history of transportation, they had these carriages. It was so interesting to see the small details that they would have had with them, like this green lamp. It's like a lantern lamp. And it makes sense, they wouldn't have had lights then, so an actual lamp would be attached to the carriage if they needed to travel at night. I swear, some of these things I've only seen in movies, but never actually saw one in real life. I've been to some history museums in London, but I think I only saw actual cars, not old carriages. have to say, this museum is very clean and very well organized. I'm surprised there weren't a lot of visitors here. In my opinion, this is a must-see in Namibia because you get to learn and visualize so much in this museum. As I said, it looks small and boring from the outside, but inside, there is so much that even with me rushing through it, I got to see so much and it took me an hour and a half. So if I had more time to see it, I would have spent even 3 hours. That's if I had to really read the descriptions. It actually has 2 floors as well. If you visit Swakopmund and want to learn about its history, this is a good start and really give it a minimum of 2 hours. This museum was actually founded by a German dentist called Dr. Alphonse Weber, or could be Weber since it's German. And this was founded in 1951. So 1951, this was years after German colonization of Namibia. Namibia was a German colony until 1919. In 1951, during this time, Namibia was colonized by South Africa. In 1951, apparently there wasn't much in Swakopmund to see, and to attract more visitors, a competition was initiated by the Swakopmund municipality. This competition was won by Dr. Weber, and this led to the founding of the Swakopmund Museum. So, in 1931, Dr. Weber left his native Munich, Germany to settle in Namibia. He opened his own practice, but Swakopmund was too small, so he traveled around to see more patients. During his travels around Namibia, he showed a great interest in everything and he started to collect various artifacts like books, maps, household items, tools, and more things. Many originated from the German colonial area, but many were also handcrafted by the indigenous inhabitants. With the founding of the museum in 1951, some items were first exhibited in an old wooden shed. Some 9 years later, and with financial assistance from the Swakopmund municipality, the state, and some private donors, they rebuilt a ruined building, which is now the building of the museum. For car lovers, I think this collection has German cars. To be fair though, I don't know much about cars, so could be just any cars. If you're into military stuff, they really have that too. The uniforms, the guns. I think some of the equipment here was actually used in World War I, or could be II, I don't know, or could be both. Or could be police equipment as well. I didn't read any information on it, but if you are interested, it's at the museum, you can always visit. They also have a section of the indigenous people of Namibia. It displays their cultures, cuisines, artifacts, and their customs. I absolutely loved this area. To be fair though, I did love all of the parts of the museum. I mean, it's just a great museum, and I like that it has a bit of everything. Let me get one thing straight though, I don't like the mistreatment of the indigenous people by the colonizers displayed in this museum, but it's good to be displayed so that some of us can learn and understand what happened. Namibia has quite a few indigenous groups. They have the Otjozondjii, the Namas, the Bushmen, the Himba, the Herero, the Damara, and more. So I think this museum does a great job at introducing some of these groups. I like that most people from these indigenous groups still have kept their culture till now. I met the Himba people and some are still living the traditional Himba way. I also like that most of the indigenous people who now live a non-traditional life from the culture they came from, they still speak their culture's language. This is something that has been lost with some cultures in Africa. I would like to visit more museums with exhibitions of Africa and its people. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments down below. This section was for minerals and stones. I didn't get enough time to look at it in detail, but I think these are the minerals and stones that I found all over Namibia. This area, the medical history area, I actually spent a lot of time here. I was just so intrigued. I felt like I've traveled through time. I think some was medical research notes or could have been some prescriptions, but overall, this was very fascinating to me at least. I'm guessing these are little weighing scales they used to use to give out prescriptions. The pharmacists or doctors back then had a lot of work to do. The fact that the founder was a dentist made this section even better. I mean, I've never been to a museum that displays medical history, so maybe that's why this was so fascinating to me. I think it's a great idea. I got to see what people had to deal with in the past before the new developments we have now. So this is what a dental room looked like. And here, this was a dentist mobile chair. So I'm guessing this is what Dr. Weber will carry with him when traveling to treat his patients. I hope he wasn't collecting his patients' teeth though to display in the museum. I hope they're fake teeth though. This last area, I'm guessing it's how a typical household would have looked like back in those days. I'm guessing of a German settlers though, or could be an actual house which Dr. Weber lived in. But again, if you know, please do let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.